the Megan Thee Stallion shooting case is now in full swing. Tory Lanez is on trial. It is day 2, and it is a big day because Megan actually got on the stand today and testified about what happened on that night 2.5 years ago when she says Tory opened fire and shot her in both of her feet. So yesterday during opening statements, Tory's team laid out a whole theory about why they say, and this is their theory, that he didn't have any motive to shoot her. He didn't shoot her.
Right.
It was actually her friend Kelsey.
Well, friend at the time. They're no longer friends anymore. But at the time, they were best friends. Everywhere you saw Meg Thee Stallion, you saw Kelsey literally arm in arm. So they say that Kelsey actually
is the
had
one
the
who
motive.
fired. Now, Megan on the stand today did address some of that theory, and she laid out everything that happened. Now, I think one of the biggest things is once she got on the stand, the prosecution asked her, did she have an intimate relationship with Tory Lanez? And that is very key because that's a question that she got when she was on CBS with Gayle King doing an interview, and she said squarely, no, it was not. Different story today on the stand.
That's right, you guys, and that's going to come up in cross-examination, I'm sure, in just a moment here. But as far as what she said on the stand and kind of how it sort of contradicts what the defense was laying out yesterday, basically, I'll quickly recap what the defense was saying. They were saying that this shooting basically amounted to a cat fight, a jealousy-fueled explosion between Kelsey and Megan, and they were trying to suggest that Kelsey might have been the shooter, not Tory, and that the reason that Kelsey might have shot Megan is because they were basically allegedly sleeping with some of the same people. Some high-profile names are mentioned, and basically Tory is saying that...
But we should say the names that were put out there by the defense.
The baby... NBA player Ben Simmons.
And Ben Simmons,
well,
right.
Right, and then Kylie Jenner was also allegedly at the center of this too. Supposedly her being in the pool with Tory is kind of what set Megan off, according to his defense team, and that she started allegedly throwing a fit, got kicked out, they all left together. What Megan is saying is different now. She was on the stand and she did address some of the details of this. She said they were at the pool party, she invited Tory to come, he came late. Eventually, she wanted to leave, so they all eventually left. She said that Tory had an attitude in the car and that they all started bickering with each other. And then he, according to her, he addressed Kelsey and said, stop lying, stop lying. And that seems to reference what Tory was talking about apparently he was sleeping with both of them. That's kind of what she seems to be admitting. And
she admits that at that moment, that was the moment when Kelsey found out, right?
Because Kelsey had these feelings for Tory.
Correct. And then what Megan is saying, as opposed to what Tory claimed, which is that a fight erupted between Kelsey and her, Megan is now saying, actually, the fight erupted between Tory and Kelsey, and she just wanted to get out of the car. Apparently, she tried exiting a couple times. On that second time, she was outside trying to, leave the situation entirely. She claims that she turned around, saw Tory, out the window, and aiming the gun at her. She says that she saw him squarely, and she says that she heard him say, dance bitch, and that's when she says she heard the shots fired. She went into shock. She felt pain, was starting to black out a little bit, and she started to crawl away. She says that somehow she made her way back into the car after that, and she claims that she heard Tory Lanez begging her to not say anything.
Because at this point, the police are on the way. They could hear
sirens. She could hear the sirens.
Correct. And she was saying that Tory was begging her not to say anything. Supposedly, he was on probation. And the big bombshell is that she claims he offered her $1 million to shut her trap, essentially. And don't say anything. Don't talk to the cops. The cops eventually arrived, and that's the video that we have where she's exiting. Everyone's on the ground. So that's kind of what she's saying, and she got very emotional, teared up a lot, and I'm very curious to see how it weighed on the jury, because, when an alleged victim is speaking on the stand, we know it's powerful.
Yeah, very powerful, and she
teared up a lot, too. When they showed her the videos of her in the ambulance, just certain things that maybe she may not have recounted all the way until she saw it. She began to tear, which always...
And she said, as far as having impact on the jury, she said the things that would, as she was getting emotional, she said, look, I can't believe I have to go through this. I have to relive this again.
And she talks a lot about being in shock.
Through it. Fabian, I got to tell you, I think that the $1 million offer, obviously, Tory's going to have to answer to that, because why would you be offering her $1 million? What are you offering her money for if not to be quiet about about him firing a gun.
You're right. He is going to have to answer that. As far as like whether he actually said it or not,
yeah,
that's where the other two witnesses, Kelsey obviously, who's going to be testifying on behalf of the prosecution,
and the driver,
and on behalf of Meg, and this driver. His name is Jaquan Smith. He is the X factor, in my opinion. He was supposedly in this car the entire time and saw or heard this altercation go down. So he knows something. I haven't heard a peep about him. No reports on what he says or what he is going to say. We know that he worked for Tory Lanez at the time. He was Tory Lanez's driver, so presumably he'll testify on behalf of Tory Lanez. But I'm curious to see what was actually said, because this is Megan Thee Stallion claiming this is what Tory said. Megan is going through cross-examination now, and I feel like the credibility thing, what you were mentioning earlier about Gayle King and whether she was intimate with him or not, she did lie on national
definitely
TV.
Gonna come up.
Right, and the defense is probably going to pick that apart. I'm sure they're doing it right now. They're already back in session, so we'll see what comes of that in a second here.
I also like, by the way, the other thing that she addressed squarely that the defense, the Tory's team had theorized, they said Megan didn't even see who shot her, that she had her back to the vehicle, so she has no idea who shot.
Right.
She's saying
she saw him.
She turned around and saw him with the gun in his hand, and she said that he was
at an elevated height, which is in those suburban trucks. You know, they have that step
on the side rail.
Yeah, he could have been standing on something. I mean,
but she said she saw him with the gun in his hand. So
yes,
that's different from what his team laid out there. This is going to be really interesting. And like you said, like Fabian said, the cross-examination about her lying, she's going to have to answer to that.
That's going to be a tough one.
Hello, my name is Diamond, and I'm from Los Angeles, California. And I just want to say, whenever you see a woman going to court in a bob wig and a suit, get your affairs in order. You are going to jail that away. I don't care if Meg slept with the Pope. It does not excuse the fact with her being shot. So I don't understand why her sexual history is really being put on trial here. Like, it doesn't even matter what he got mad about, or who, what, did what. The fact of the matter is he shot her, and we need to go ahead and deport him back. We don't need to do no type of trade. Send him on back. He's trying to bring his little son in for sympathy. Sir, we don't care. A lot of us didn't even know you were father. So please let the little boy go back to school. It is a school week. It is a school day. He's missing out on learning because you want to use him as a prop for your court shenanigans. Bye-bye, Tory. It is time for you to sashay away.
All right.
That, Charles, is a read.
Yes, that is exactly what that was.